I promise this video can change your life. As I always say, success largely depends on you. Today, more than ever, I need you to participate actively. Just take a few minutes, set aside all distractions, and focus here with me. In this video, we will look at vibrations in a slightly different way. Usually, my videos are scripted, but today we will deviate from the traditional script. Let's approach this as an informal conversation. So, let's begin. The idea of vibration is gaining more and more interest. More and more people are seeking to understand this phenomenon better, and consequently, the amount of available information is also increasing. You might ask, if there is already so much information, why talk about it again? Well, friends, there are many ways to explore this knowledge. Some delve into technical details, get lost in fantastic theories that add little value. Often, we face difficulties because some ideas are really hard to explain. Additionally, when we try to say exactly what people want to hear, we end up deviating so much from the original path that we get nowhere. But how to approach this topic without getting lost in the extremes? How to talk about vibration without delving into complicated technical aspects or distant fantasies? After much reflection, I decided to choose two simple paths. First, I simplified the concept of vibration, eliminating excessive technical details. Secondly, I want to share a personal experience that illustrates the power of maintaining a high vibration. This experience is part of my own life, making it more real and far from any fantasy. After all, I love my life as it is, simple and real, and I keep working to improve it. Experts say that vibration is the energy that animates atoms and molecules, including you. They tell us that vibrations can be high or low. When we feel good, we vibrate at a high frequency. Learning to raise our vibration is essential. It seems we need to be experts to learn how to vibrate at a high frequency. But don't forget the most important thing, our emotions and how we feel. You don't need to be an expert to learn how to vibrate at a high frequency. You already know what it means to feel good. Do you really need someone to teach you how to feel good? After all, the only person who can control your emotions is yourself. So, why look for this elsewhere? Maintaining a high vibration is essentially feeling good, and that's all we need to understand. The technical details really don't matter in this context. We are talking about the transition between positive and negative emotions, not just high and low vibrations. It's a mistake to believe that the only way to attract what we desire is to maintain a high vibration all the time. Even when we are in this ideal state, we still attract events into our lives. In fact, we spend a lot of time feeling bad, dissatisfied, stressed, desperate, and yet, the universe continues to respond, bringing more of the same. The true value of this topic lies in recognizing that we are constantly creating our reality. The simplest solution is to try to maintain a constant feeling of well-being. This can ensure that everything in your life goes in the desired direction. So, what's the problem? Allow me to share my perspective. The problem is that we are often told that to attract certain things, we need to vibrate at certain frequencies, as if we were radios tuning to the right station. Explaining vibration in terms of frequency and antenna can be helpful to some extent, but we shouldn't overcomplicate it. Remember, this is just my opinion. Everyone is free to believe what they want. But as far as I know, I am not a radio. I am a person. If you are looking for a video about frequencies and antennas, maybe this is not for you. But if you want to understand my view on vibration and how it impacted my life to the point of transforming it completely, you are in the right place. I will tell my story without embellishments, without rainbows and unicorns, about how I went from a depressed life to a life I truly love. I stopped dreaming. I believe we all have an idea of what we want in life, but at some point, that idea starts to get lost. Suddenly, I realized I had been working in a small office for 5 years, sharing it with 2 colleagues. One of them, sitting in front of me, was a very serious person and of few words. In 5 years, we only talked about his children. On the other hand, at the desk next to me, several people came and went, but I only remember the last one because she, unknowingly, played a crucial role at an important moment. The situation in my life led me to seek something more, something that gave meaning to my existence. Because, believe it or not, a life without emotions is as bad as a life in chaos. And there I was, sitting in the office every day, looking at the computer screen, and the only escape from the routine was browsing the internet. On one of those days, I watched the documentary, The Secret, and something clicked inside me. I was fascinated and started absorbing information about all these mystical themes that promised a new vision of the universe. I longed for something that gave meaning to my life, something that brought emotions, that represented a real change. Something that could make all the difference. The Secret opened the doors to my spiritual journey, but paradoxically, it took years to really understand what it was trying to teach me. It took me a while to read between the lines and grasp the essence of its message. In fact, it took more than a year from my first interest in spiritualism until I really delved in and began exploring its possibilities. I just shared something vital that could have gone unnoticed. So, I'll say it again, it took more than a year for me to start applying what I learned, and friends, this is important because I don't want you to spend as much time as I did before starting to act. When we are dissatisfied with our life, it is very easy to give in to the temptation of any promised change. Practically anything that takes us out of the routine can be helpful, whether it's playing video games or watching a movie. Considering that I've been where many of you are now, I want to share something in the hope that it might be useful. Listen, when we are not satisfied with our reality, when we feel incomplete, when it's hard to find a purpose, the temptation is to believe that just thinking positively about something will make it come true. It's a convenient way to live, isn't it? Sitting, watching life pass by, imagining what we desire, and waiting for the universe to do its work. Imagining that one day the clouds will part and the desire will fall into our hands. The law of attraction exists, but it is not as simple as it seems. Anyway, we need to act to get what we want. And the same universe to which you ask your desires is watching you sit and just wish. Please, don't waste precious time believing that everything you seek is outside, ready to be served to you. What you seek is within you, but that's a topic for another video. Continuing, when I finally understood, after a year, that just wishing for something was not enough for it to happen, I decided to act. It was time to put all these spiritual ideas into practice. This need led me to study more about vibration, and immersed in it, I decided to do something I love, simplify. I devised a plan and set a concrete goal, to get a promotion at work. I knew I needed to maintain a high vibration to attract what I wanted, but considering my current state, that seemed impossible. Many external factors influenced my mood, preventing me from maintaining a high vibration, that is, feeling good. That was my first challenge. At the time, I didn't know that the universe places obstacles in our path when we make important decisions. I'm not talking about spiritual trials, but real challenges. Understanding this, I realized I needed more than just wishing. I understood that it was necessary to change my perspective and actions to align my emotions and vibrations with my goals. This meant facing my challenges head-on and finding ways to overcome them, keeping my focus on well-being and positivity. And friends, this is the true essence, feeling good, regardless of the circumstances, and acting according to that feeling to create the desired reality. To overcome this challenge, I decided to seek more information. Everyone repeated the same thing, it's a matter of perception. You can't change the external world, only the internal one. If you want to change your life, start by changing yourself. Thousands of other phrases reinforced that the true strength is within us. And that is true. But when you are starting your spiritual journey, it's hard to accept these ideas. Especially because I was just beginning to understand this whole concept of manifestation of desires. Of course, I didn't have time to completely change my internal state and see the world in a different way. I clung to what was most convenient for me at that moment. We ourselves create our reality. And that was quite curious. I told myself, I am the creator of my reality and, in my reality, yes, it is possible to change the external world. Fortunately, I already knew that just wishing for something was not enough. So, I started to act. Pay attention, because what I'm going to say now can be applied to your life. You just need to adapt it to your own situation. Before continuing, I want to remind you that every day I post interesting videos on this channel. If you want to explore your spiritual path in a simple and direct way, don't forget to subscribe and follow the news on the channel. So, let's continue. I wrote on a piece of paper everything that bothered me. My neighbor played loud music every morning, making me start the day irritated. The bus ride to work was always crowded, which only made things worse. Conversations about my colleagues' children during lunch made me desperately discouraged. Additionally, my sedentary lifestyle was making me gain weight. These were the 4 main issues that made my life unbearable. How could I solve this? How to change my situation? Now, I realized I needed to get rid of everything that prevented me from feeling good. The irony is that by trying to change the external environment, I ended up changing myself. I'll explain how. After much reflection, I realized that some of these things were uncontrollable. For example, I thought about playing louder music than my neighbors so I wouldn't hear him, but I didn't want to listen to music in the morning. Using headphones was also not an ideal solution. For economic reasons, using a taxi every day was impossible, as was finding an empty bus. I also couldn't ask my colleague to stop talking about his children, and work didn't leave me time to go to the gym. But the solutions were right in front of my eyes. I just needed to see them. The next day, I woke up half an hour before my neighbor started playing his music and decided to walk to work. It was a relatively short walk, about 25 minutes, and it didn't cause me much inconvenience. I realized that walking to and from work would help me lose weight over time, eliminating the need to go to the gym. On the way, I noticed a woman selling coffee in the park. For the first time, I noticed the beauty of that place, something I never perceived from inside a crowded bus. Despite the temptation to stop, I continued my way straight to work. I arrived at work 5 minutes earlier than usual. My colleague was already there, and when I greeted him, his face lit up, and we had a long conversation about his children. Suddenly, the office, which was usually a place of silence during lunch, came to life. After talking about his children, we needed to find a new topic of conversation. That's when I realized that despite working together for 5 years, I hardly knew my colleague, and I believe he felt the same about me. The solution was always right in front of me. I killed 4 birds with 1 stone. The next day, I did the same, but with a small change. I didn't have coffee at home. When I got to the park, I bought a coffee from the woman who sold it there and sat on a bench to enjoy it. This is very important to me. As I mentioned in other videos, just 5 minutes of tranquility were enough to give me a new perspective. Once, while sitting on the park bench, watching the people around, I saw how they rushed without looking back, unloading stress. The buses passed crowded, and the noise was continuous. But this time, I was not part of it. If someone asked me what peace is, I would say it's the ability to sit in a park and observe life with gratitude. I would say it's the opportunity to enjoy a coffee without worries. And if they asked me about spiritual awakening, I would say it's the ability to observe the world from a park bench. Just 2 days earlier, I was in the same situation as the people I observed. But now I saw them from a completely different perspective. This became my daily routine. It didn't take even a month for my colleague to notice that I was different. "You look good," she said, and then I realized, I was vibrating at a high frequency, feeling good and radiating that energy to the world. There was only one thing left for me to feel completely happy: my promotion. I was ready, just waiting for it. I want to emphasize that until that moment, I had never felt a direct influence from the universe. Everything I achieved was thanks to my decision to change my situation. In fact, what the universe apparently had in store for me was far from inspiring. 3 months later, my boss introduced his nephew, who took the position I so desired. At that moment, I felt the world collapse on me. For a few minutes that seemed like hours, I questioned everything I had learned, thinking that the law of attraction and all the talk about the universe were just empty words. My colleague, noticing my depressed state, commented that this is why her brother chose to work as a freelancer. Those words echoed in my mind: freelancer. Why had I never considered that before? Why was I working for someone who didn't value my efforts? It took tasting that bitter taste to consider a different alternative. With this new perspective, I regained my positive energy and set a new goal: to become an independent worker. A month later, I resigned from my job. With time and a clearer mind, I reflected on all this. At that time, I still couldn't fully understand, but today, with more experience, I can say exactly what happened in my mind. I intensely desired a better position at work, but the universe knew that, in fact, this was not what I really wanted. This makes perfect sense. Why seek a new position in a place where I didn't feel completely happy? This is where the power of the subconscious comes into play, a topic I always emphasize. Consciously, I sought a promotion. My subconscious knew that what I really wanted was to feel good, to have peace, to feel comfortable. The universe sent me a signal, and I knew how to interpret it correctly. I followed my intuition and, like magic, my life changed. This is the story of my first big triumph, something simple but deeply transformative, without the need for rainbows. Since then, much time has passed. Although I haven't achieved the life of my dreams, I undoubtedly live a better life. I earn a little more money and work much less. But the most important thing is time. The possibility of managing my time was revolutionary. I still take my morning walks in the park to have my coffee. When I get back home, I can even record videos for YouTube peacefully. At the beginning of this video, I promised it could change your life, and if you know how to read between the lines, you will feel the power of what I shared today. Vibrating at a high frequency is feeling good. It's setting a goal and ensuring that nothing shakes your mood as you move toward it. This is about making your colleagues feel the need to praise you for your contagious energy. Set goals, friends. Make plans, move towards your objectives, and adjust your feelings, for we never know where luck may come from. Feel good, enjoy life, accept the kindness of the woman selling coffee in the park, and allow the world to enter your lives. Not by providing ready-made abundance, but by paving the way and giving the necessary push. The life we desire needs to be actively sought. The most important thing I can say today is that the life we desire is not at the end of the path prepared by the universe. Life, my friends, is the path itself. Today, I shared with you a personal story, an intimate account of how, in a simple but powerful way, I changed my life. Through this narrative, I hope to shed light not only on the concepts of vibration and frequency but also on the invaluable value of listening to yourself. My story was planted as a seed in the fertile soil of your consciousness. As a careful gardener, you decided to nurture these seeds with your presence and attention, allowing them to germinate and grow. This is no small thing. It is a courageous and significant choice that reflects your commitment to your own growth and happiness. It is impressive to think that we are connected by these shared vibrations, adding our own light and color to the tapestry we weave together. As we conclude this video, I ask you to carry with you not just the information, but also the feeling of community and support we created here. May every step you take towards self-knowledge and self-expression be a step that brings us closer together as a big family, seeking harmony and understanding in a world that often seems divided. Remember always, you are not alone on this journey. The path may be long and sometimes lonely, but together we are stronger. We are united not only by our dreams and aspirations but also by the love and gratitude each of you brings to the world. So, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to spend this time with me. And most importantly, thank you for being exactly who you are. Move forward with courage, curiosity, and above all, with a heart full of hope and gratitude. Until our next meeting, may each of you continue to vibrate high and find beauty in every moment of your existence. Once again, thank you and see you in the next video.